Hi guys, back with another GR Yaris video today. We're fitting this CANchecked OBD display. These, I've been looking forward to this for a little while now. These are a great bit of kit. They're just over £400 and they show you just so much, you know, compared to, let's say, a couple of really expensive high quality gauges. These are about the same sort of price and just show you so much more. So on these and any turbocharged car, it's great to keep an eye on the intake air temp and the charge temps, and also things like ignition angle, so you can see when the ECU is sensing that things are getting a bit too hot and it's starting to pull the timing out. It'll also log as well, which is good. And then lastly, for the Yaris specifically, which is a great feature, it'll tell you how hot that rear diff is. We've all seen the videos of them getting too hot around the Nürburgring, turning the rear diff off, making themselves front wheel drive. You can keep an eye on that, so you're not just out of the blue suddenly without a rear diff. You can see when it's going to get too hot, start to back it off, alter the four-wheel drive system, anything, you know, just basically you can take a bit more control of it. So we'll unbox it now, see what it comes with, and get it fitted into the car. Right, so that's the CANchecked display all unboxed. So in the box we've got the display, and we do keep a bit of the ventilation as well, which is good, especially in the summer we've had this year. We've got a 3D printed little adapter to fit it into the standard vent. We've got two bits of wiring. We've got wiring to connect it to the car's OBD port, which is super straightforward. We'll show you that in a minute. And we've also got this USB cable here, which you can hook up to a laptop or whatever, and change the displays, take your data logs off, etc, etc. And lastly, we've got some a power adapter that goes into the fuse box. Again, we'll show you that where it goes, and some red wire to run that 12-volt supply over. A couple of what looks like screen protectors here, nice little sticker, always important, SD adapter, and some instructions. Right, so we're going to be fitting the CANchecked display now. First thing we're going to do is the power supply. Now it comes with this ignition live wire that you can fit. I've actually cheated a bit. Last night I fitted the wire across the dash, but I'll show you where I fitted it, just so you know. It comes with this little adapter here, which goes into the fuse box. It's quite a nifty little adapter. What it does is it takes feed from the 7.5 amp fuse that is used for the USB, and then it just piggybacks off that. So it doesn't actually take more feed through that fuse, it just piggybacks from the actual supply side of it. So we're going to get this in now, hook it up so that we've got an ignition live where we need it, and then we'll move over to the driver's side and fit the display, and then connect everything up. So the fuse box on the GR Yaris, there is an interior fuse box. It's under, on these right-hand drive cars at least, it's under the glove box. So it's going to be a little bit awkward to film, but you just undo this panel here. It's got three little clips. Probably be easier to show you once it's out. So that's how you see it from if you're looking at the glove box. You just pop these in there, pull it down, and then there's a little guide here which goes into a hole just underneath the heater motor there. And then the fuse box is right on the outer side of it. Again, so that just has a little clip that you pull off the front there. So as you're looking at it, you just pull this towards you and pull the front off, and the back will just come off as well. If you look on the underside of it, you've got a little description of where, which fuse goes where. Now it's going to be a bit hard to make out, but the one we're going to use is this 7.5 amp for the USB number 1. It doesn't actually give us a number for that, but that's the one we're going to use, this 7.5 that's next to the 15 amp. So what you need to do is just pop this 7.5 amp fuse out and pop that adapter in. It already comes with this one pre-fitted into it, so everything's just going to work exactly as it did before. You don't need to worry about getting this one in because they're a funny little design, and I've not seen that before working on this. So the only thing is you won't be able to fit your fuse box cover back on. So just keep that with the rest of the car or in the glove box somewhere if you ever need to refer to it. But it won't fit with that adapter for obvious reasons. Once that adapter's in, the next thing we're going to do is just attach it to the red wire that it comes with. So for that I'm just going to use some crimps. Okay, that's it. So that's just crimped onto there. So now we have an ignition live on this red wire here. Now this red wire is just looped up here. I've looped it around these, I'm not sure what control unit this is here, but I've looped it around there and just fed it through. I've cable tied it across a few points along the way just to keep it out of any harm's way, and we'll see it again on the driver's side when we go to hook it up to the actual wiring that came with it. Right, so back round on the driver's side of the vehicle, what we're going to do is we're going to take this vent out. We're also going to take this panel off here, and we're going to take the same panel underneath that we took off on the passenger side. One thing you'll notice here is I do have some wiring here for a Garmin catalyst, so you will see some other stuff behind there. Hopefully it's not too untidy, but don't worry about that. We're just going to focus on that one red wire that we've already run through this side of the dash. You'll need some plastic trim tools for it. You can use a metal one. I'm going to see, hopefully I'll just get out with the plastic ones. If you're going to use a metal one, a little tip is just to pop some masking tape around it or some loom tape, something that's going to protect you from scratching that surface there. So the trim on this side that we need to remove from the underneath has the same sort of clips, but just as like a little safety measure, I suppose. It's got a screw on this side and it's got a screw on the inside as well. Okay, so I'm just going to drop it down there. And we've also got on this thing here, we've got the actual OBD connector for the car. So that's what we're going to be using to supply the gauge with all its information. So we'll just leave that there for now. Under here is the wire that I ran through last night. So that's the wire that we've got with the kit there. And that's already got a ignition 12 volt supply. So what we're going to do now is pop this vent out, get the display in, get the wires hanging down so they're around here somewhere, and then connect it all up. Okay, that's the bottom. Okay, so bit of gentle force, you'll get it out. Don't go too mad, you don't need to. You've got these two red clips at the top and these two at the bottom. So what we're going to do is just pop this trim off the rest of the vent, and we don't need the rest of the vent anymore. So if you have a look inside here, we can see printed part is going to fit. It is a little bit fiddly, but you've basically just got to keep working your way around it. There's a few little clips along the way and off it comes. So every bit here that's not one of the red clips is holding it onto here. So just again, use your plastic trim tool or whatever you have, gently pry these up and just apply a bit of pressure just so it keeps it sort of preloaded so it'll come away. So that's all the disassembly we need to fit this. So now we need to get this fitted to the bracket here and then get it into the car. Okay, now that we've got our vent apart, we're going to get the gauge ready to install. So the first thing we're going to do is plug these connectors in. So we've got 3 connectors on here. We've got 2 that go to the OBD port here, and we've got another one that goes to the micro USB. So we're just going to plug those in, and then we're going to run those out and down through this little channel at the bottom here. You can run them out the sides as well, but this channel looks like that's what it's for. So we're going to go with that for now. Just going to undo this. So if you're not bothered about data logging, you don't have to fit this bit here, but I'm quite keen to see what it's going to be like on track days and stuff, so I'm going to have a little go at logging there. Okay, so we're going to run all of those. So what I'm going to do, just going to make that a little bit neater. Run that underneath there. And have it all running down there nicely. So now that we've got that on, we're going to get the 3D printed bracket here that slips it into the actual vent. So we're going to leave these 3 silver screws where they are, because these sort of sit in these little indentations. It sort of clips in, you'll see that in a sec. We're going to take this black screw out, put it down somewhere safe, and then as we put this on the top, you'll hear it just click into place there. So we're going to get that the black screw there and screw that in. Right, so now that that's screwed on there, it's nice and secure, everything's popping out where it should do underneath here. We're going to just pop this cover back on here. So it can only go on one way, that's the way it should go. If you go on the other way, you'll see there's nowhere for this bit to go. So pop it on this way here. It should just all click on quite nicely. There it is. So that's it there. So as I say, this right in here with the Toyota Yaris XP21, that is the top. So that's the gauge all ready to go into the vent hole there, and we're just going to feed these down. So we'll start with this biggest connector here, this OBD connector. We'll just post that through there. Post it so it's going to, there's quite a big sort of void behind here, especially if you haven't already got anything else wired in. So we're just going to post that down and grab it from the underneath. And then the data logging cable, well, you can pretty much leave that where you want. You can ball it up and cable tie it up, or you can just sort of tuck it in this little gap here. So we're going to go with that option. As well as data logging, this USB connection can be used to make the different displays, you know, get it set up to your preference. Although the guide doesn't actually, the instructions that come with the kit, they don't tell you how to fit it into your specific car. They are good at explaining how to customize it to however you want it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep pulling on those gently as we pop it back into the car. Now before I pop it in all the way, I'm just going to sort of leave it there just so we can make sure it works without having to make those horrible creaking and cracking noises of it coming out again. The only thing that's left to do to get this setup working is to give this wire here the ignition live that we've wired in. So obviously I've got miles too much cable here. What we're going to do is we're going to plug this into here, this OBD connector here, and then we're going to use this little gap next to it, or we can use this one here, and we're just going to connect the positive feed up there. Again, I'm just going to use a crimp connector for that, just for speed and reliability really. Okay, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of slack there. Go with about that much. Strip the end of the wire there and just hook it up. Okay, so now that that's connected up, again, we'll cable tie that up and make it tidy in a minute, but what I want to do is just make sure that it's actually going to work. So with the key in the car, I'm just going to give it ignition on. Okay, we can see that the display is coming on. It's given us a few setup things here to do, so we'll do those in a second, but for now we know it works, so we'll get everything clipped back in. Okay, so now everything's back in, all the wiring is cable tied out of the way and tidy. The display is now, and the vent is now clipped back in. So yeah, it's all working absolutely fine. Some of the things will be set as we start to drive, but for now let's just look at the boost thing here. We can see that it's reading the pedal position fine. We've got gear temperatures, we've got intake temperatures, everything's good. I can see it perfectly fine past the steering wheel there. Yeah, really happy with that install.